Welcome to Overtime with Jared P. and Johnny O, episode 35, Final Four recap edition. Incredible Final Four. Three of the four games were incredible.
They really were.
Really all four games were really good. All three games in the Final Four were really good. Fantastic. But we're going to do some of that. We're going to talk about the UConn women's basketball dynasty and then who we think will be the best team, as you see online a lot of time, the way too early predictions for next year for the college basketball season.
The day after. Unbelievable.
Let
me mention our title sponsor.
Yep.
We got Estate Jewelry and Loan. Brian does a little something old, something new. Estate Jewelry has a great selection of new and estate jewelry, and you can really find a unique piece for any occasion. Brian's showroom is beautiful and has lots to choose from. It's very cool. It's a very cool little jewelry store, local jewelry store. Estate Jewelry, diamonds and watches. Check them out at 2511 Battleground Ave, and you can jump online and find them at estateJewelryLoan.com. And then we got Salsarita's Fresh Mexican Grill, located in High Point at the Palladium and in Greensboro in the Target Shopping Center on New Garden Road. He's got food trucks, catering, daily specials. You can go to salsaritas.com. That's salsaritas.com, and go have yourself a good meal. Let's get rolling.
Okay, so for me, and both of us, we wanted Duke to lose. And for me, my take on it is that I predicted at the beginning of the tournament that Duke would not win the tournament. Now, at people saying, "Oh, you're trolling Duke," I wasn't at first. I really didn't think so because of a weak ACC, because they had only played, I think, 4 quad one or top 25 teams, or maybe 5, and they were 3-2. So I was like, there's no way of knowing how good this Duke team really is, except for when they were playing teams they should beat, they blew them out, which is always a good sign. So I did not think, I thought, they'll get tested by a tough team like Alabama or maybe some other team, and they're going to struggle. And then they were just rolling through the tournament. And as each week went on, I was like, uh-oh. But I continued to troll online on my own page. But and Duke fans, I've never seen angrier fans when they're winning. Because I would just troll them, you're not going to win the next round. And they're like, I hate you. You're an idiot. Like, talking about they're going to fight me. That if they see me on the street, they're going to beat me up. I'm like, you're winning. Like, clearly, like I'm just sticking by my prediction. And then the most epic collapse by a talented team that I've ever seen. They had a 91.7% chance of winning the game with 31 seconds to go. And Duke blew it with what some were saying was the best Duke team of all time, talent-wise. Some people are saying that. By far the most talented college basketball team. And some of them are saying the most talented college basketball team in the last 30 years. And they lost to a team of 4th, 5th year seniors. And they had some younger guys mixed in there. A very well-coached Houston team, which made Florida in the national championship game for long stretches look bad on offense. So I don't think it was like a fluke or Duke blew it. But, there is some of that. You only score 1 field goal in the final 10 minutes. But what an epic collapse. I couldn't be happier.
It was pretty awesome. Now with you online making all those predictions about Duke, okay, of course I was following my man Jared. And, you were kind of a wise ass while you were doing
it. Yeah, for sure. It started, and this is to defend myself a little bit. My first prediction before the tournament started was this team, once we'll see. But then I was like, oh no, this team is legit, because you couldn't tell how good they were, because they were 5-2 the first 7 games of the season.
Yeah.
And they went to a very, very weak ACC. So I wasn't sure. But after they blew out Alabama, I'm like, uh-oh, this team's going to win it.
Yeah.
This team's going to win it.
And they were an outstanding basketball team, and they just collapsed, man. And Houston, no fluke at all. And you mentioned, holding teams. Houston did what they did Saturday night all year long. They were holding teams to nothing, always in the 50s and, a couple teams in the 40s a few times. But very well coached. Kelvin Sampson did a great job with that team. But that collapse was beautiful. We were in New Bern with Kim's family. They had a big wedding shower, and so there was a bunch of us watching those games. And there was one Duke fan in particular, and she was the only Duke fan, and that's Kim's mom. For some reason, she's a Duke fan, but she used to do business with Duke back when she was in sales many years ago. And she's cheering along,
Yeah.
Go Duke. Oh, swish, they're doing that because they were dominating that basketball game. And I was just cringing. I'm like, first of all, I wanted Auburn to beat Florida in the first game. So I'm already pissed off because Auburn got beat. And now Duke's going to win. I'm thinking, oh my God, but I kept my mouth shut. And those last few minutes were beautiful. Houston deserved it, man. But I've never seen a Duke team do that, collapse. Now they started to do that against North Carolina in that last game of the season, where Carolina almost came back and won that game. But
Carolina was down 24 and
a
lane violation, but they also didn't have Cooper Flag, so people could say that. But still, the only other 6 future NBA players couldn't hold it down. You know what I mean? But yeah, right. So
no, I got you. But that was a great game. But that one guy for Houston, LJ Cryer, I guess he's the point guard or shooting guard. Obviously, he hit 6 threes. He kept Houston in that game, even though they were down by 10, 11 points here and there. And I'm going to confess right now, I was doing a little betting on not FanDuel, the other one, and I'm thinking, I had Houston. I had a bunch of little bets. And I had Houston at the beginning of the game where you can say they could win by 3 points or 4 points or 7 points. So I had them winning, I put X amount of dollars on them winning by 3, by 4, and by 7. And then I'm watching the game and I'm like, are you kidding me? So I kind of, what do you call it when you can buy out of it or whatever?
Cash out. Yeah.
Cash out. So I cashed out on the Houston and I went all Duke, like Duke's going to win by 7, 8, 9 points, 17, and even 20. I did a 20-point thing. Houston wins by 3. I think I only had that bet was, I think I put $5 down on it, but I would have won $95 if I would have kept it. I cashed out for like $1.33 or something because I said that, that's not going to happen, and they ended up winning. But
no, I didn't place a bet on that game, but a friend, somebody I know, they said that when Duke was up, was it 12 or 14, maybe it was 9 with 3 minutes to go, it was like plus 6,000 for Houston to win. Yeah. And the Duke bet like $25 and won, whatever the math is on that.
Oh my God.
$3,000, $1,000. I did bet. The only bet I've done this year, I did some last year of football, but this year was on the Florida game, and the spread was 1.5, and I took Florida. So Florida had to win by 2. So I was way more into the game against We'll get into that in a minute, Houston, but in a minute. But yeah, Houston is Kelvin Sampson. They have a certain style. They play tough, and this is the first year they've been able to score as one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the country. And so it was, I actually turned the game off. I was so mad when Duke was up 12 or 14 in the second half. I was like, I can't watch this. Then I heard my son, he had a friend over, and I didn't even know if they were watching it, but they're in the living room. And I heard him go, no way. And I checked my phone, and it was like still like a 5-point game, but it was like, or 6-point game with under 30 seconds to go. And I'm like, well, then it was 3. Then I turned the game back on and watched Duke lose in epic fashion. You may have seen this stat. I think we posted on our overtime social medias, but since Steele's, give credit to the Athletic for this, since Steele's became an official stat in 1986, NCAA tournament teams had won 335 games and lost 0 when they beat their opponent in field goal percentage, free throw attempts, assists, have fewer turnovers, and have more steals. The only team to ever lose that since 1986 out of 336 games was Duke on Saturday night.
Incredible, man. It's never over until it's over, man. That's why I'm not a real betting man. I bet a few little chips here and there. I just betting on sports drives me crazy because you just don't know. You're counting on somebody to do something for you, and it drives me nuts. But you like to do it because it's so easy. You just pick up your phone and you start touching buttons, man.
It does seem real. Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. But so that was a heck of a game. Now that first game, that Florida Auburn game, Auburn was winning that game, dominating that game.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed in that Janai Broom though. Did you watch that game at all?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I mean, outstanding basketball player, but very nonchalant. He's a nonchalant kind of player. You're kind of easy with the ball, a little loose with the ball, this and that. And he only ended up with like 15 points and half dozen rebounds or something. But Auburn blew that game. I think Auburn should have won that game, and I still think Auburn is the better team than Florida, and I think Duke is the better team than Houston, but they didn't want,
It's
we
basketball.
saw who played last night. So
Right. No, I know that the best team doesn't always win, but we did get, and then one of my brackets, I didn't realize I did two brackets. My second bracket, I had all one seeds, which I never do it, but I did have Houston versus Florida and Florida winning. I had like the combined to be 135. I think it's 128. And I was like, oh, gosh, that was lucky. Just like, I did 2 seconds, we weren't paying attention. We could end the season with no SEC team winning the championship, and that would have been, I think that'd been a big story about, here's this dominant conference, and then you have Houston win it, which Houston, let's get into that. Houston should have won the national championship.
Should have won. They had that game. They were dominating that game. Florida just finds a way of winning, how to win, and there's a formula to that. I don't know. They just never give up. But Houston's the same type team. They play
Right.
40 minutes. They go right till the end. But that was. It could have went either way. If we're talking about last night's game, and let me give my son kudos, Lucas O. Living in Charlotte, we had 12 family and friend members in our bracket. And he ended up winning the bracket last night. And all 12 of us, none of us had the winner of the whole tournament. None of us had Florida. Caroline, Kim's daughter, had Houston. So going into last night's game, it was either Lucas wins because he had enough points, and as long as Florida won, and if Houston would have won, Caroline would have won it. So, but Luke took home the bag of cash last night. So there was a lot of banter going on our little thread there. So,
well, I did a work one, and it was like the top 5 people in our work one that all picked Florida there was one person that won. And I was like 5th place because I picked Florida, but everyone else, they fall down if you don't pick the championship. But I have a family bracket, extended family and stuff. And I won that one, but I'm in charge of it. And the thing is, like, whoever wins, and my kids are in it, other people's wins gets like a free dinner. I'm like, Am I buying myself dinner? But my girlfriend's in it this year. I'm like, Anna, you got to buy me dinner. I said, all right. But no, Houston, when holding teams under 70 points this year, 33-0.
Yes.
Until last night.
Yep. How about that?
And was that the worst final play in the championship game history?
Yeah.
But it would get a shot off.
But a hell of a defensive play by Walter Clayton, going up to block that. That's what screwed that guy up, and he jumped. But I'm surprised that guy thought at that time of the game and what was on the line to not to touch that ball again, because it would have been so easy for him to grab it, and they would have, called double dribble or whatever, travel or whatever it would be called.
Right.
But what a weird way of ending that game. They didn't even get a shot off. Oh,
my understanding is Houston's last 4 possessions were turnovers. I know they didn't get a shot off, and I don't think their last 4 possessions, I don't think they attempted a shot. And that's rough. That's a rough way to go out. At least, and it looked like, by the way the play was drawn up, it looks like they're trying to get Cryer open for a 3, and then Sharp was open. It looks like they're going for the win. It didn't look like they were going to play for overtime, which is ballsy because, at that time, what is the percentage chance of I think they shoot 40% as a team, but man,
what you're saying, that was I kind of looked at the stats on, the stats of last night's game for both teams. Excuse me. Both teams shot 25% from 3-point land last night. I mean, that's bad. This is a championship basketball game. One shot 24%, the other shot 25%. Now, the only guy that was hitting them was that Will Richard for Florida. Obviously, he had he hit 4 of them, but he's the one that kept them in the game because Clayton couldn't do anything. He had 0 points in the first half, and he ended up with 11 in the second half that were very important points. But they held Houston just shut down Walter Clayton, and no one else did it all year long. That kid's a hell of a player. And again, your LJ Cryer, who is the 3-point shooter, he had 19. He was the only Houston player in double figures.
Wow!
On a championship night, it was a great game, but I don't know how well played it was. When you start looking at the numbers.
Yeah, and then it's interesting. I mean, Houston had some transfers. There's a guy on our show that was like, "Well, Houston has people from the portal." I'm like, well, they returned 7 of their top players from last year. What's on Houston? So there's some continuity there. They have some players here 3 or 4 years, and they had some transfer. I think their guard from Oklahoma, point guard, was really good, or maybe he's 1 or 2. But no, they also say sometimes playing in these huge arenas, it can mess up their depth perception. But then the night before or Saturday, Clayton shot great, Cryer shot great. So I don't know how much truth there is to that, but they've said that sometimes you can see bad shooting in these games because people are tight, but also the depth perception is wrong because they're not used to playing with this huge background. But I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I'd have to see more studies on that.
I tell you what, it's not true because my team plays in the I still call it the Carrier Dome, and every team that comes in and plays Syracuse, I swear they break records for how their percentage of 3-point shots.
Yeah, well, maybe so. So okay, debunked then, and that you see that firsthand every season. But I mean, it was. I think as far as like close games and exciting games and major comebacks, that was a very exciting Final Four.
Yeah, no, and the 4 best teams were in that Final Four. 100%. They were terrific teams, terrific talent, coaches, everything about it was a joy to watch, no doubt about it. Hey, let me mention some of these other guys here. Our sponsors. You got Pure Energy Fitness. Blaze Thompson has spent 25 years helping everyone from beginners to pro athletes build strength, resilience, and lifelong fitness through smart functioning training. At Pure Energy, they prepare you for the seasons of life by igniting your pure energy, 1 rep at a time from inside out. Go to pureenergyfitness.com, and it's located in Greensboro right off of Lawndale Drive. Go see Blaze Thompson at Pure Energy. Got Jimmy Snowberger out there up in Cicero, New York, right outside of Syracuse. Imperial Marketing Solutions, sale of equipment, sales of new reconditioned computer, IT hardware, reconditioned equal to brand spanking new. He gives a 3-year warranty, out-of-state drop shipping, and payment terms available. Call Jimmy Snow at 315-345-8349. Shank and Torrance Insurance here in Greensboro, but they serve the entire Triad and state. Brian Torrance specializes in personal insurance, including auto, homeowners, and life insurance. Call him at 336-310-1320 for all your insurance needs. And
we have a Surf Hippie Fishing, surfhippiefishing.com for all your fishing apparel needs. And they do tournaments. They do all sorts of awesome things, fishing gear. We have Elite Performance Chiropractic, 2 locations, Greensboro, Winston-Salem. Jeremy Phelps is the owner and chiropractor there, the doctor there, and he's great. Been on the show, former pro football player. Yeah, we have like really great, awesome sponsors. You want to be a sponsor, by the way, you can contact any of us on social media, but Johnny at sportscarolina@gmail.com. All right, so I know you're really
real quick. Speaking of Jeremy Phillips, I'm going to reach out to him, and maybe we can talk a little football pre-draft, maybe the next week or so, right before the draft. See what his thoughts are. We'll get him on the show.
I would love that. All right, so Johnny, you're really big into women's basketball. That's I think you said it's your favorite sport besides female lacrosse.
I like one team and one team only.
But UConn. It's actually a great story.
It
You
really
know,
is.
when his 12th
Gino,
championship. Yeah.
yeah, wins his 12th. I mean, I went through all the stats last week on the show, and now, we got to add another championship to his record. And they go to the Final Four, okay, as a number 2 seed, the only number 2 seed in the Final Four. They crush UCLA, who was number 1 all year long. 90%
Yes.
of the year, they were number 1 all year long. They beat them by over 30 points on Final Four night. And then they come in and play a tough, you never want to play South Carolina now, man. I
No.
mean, they're intimidating, I think. And
Well, they've won, what, 3 of the last 5?
2 or 3 out of the last 5, yeah.
Yeah, or maybe they're going for the third. Yeah.
And Gino had his girls not worried at all, and they just came out and just played from minute 1 till minute 40, and they crushed them by 30 points in the championship game, man. I mean, it's unbelievable how good. And what's scary is, what's her name? Paige Becker had a nice little game, like 17 points and a few assists, few rebounds, but their true freshman, Sarah Strong, 24 points, 15 rebounds, hitting 3-pointers. And then this Aussie Fudd, who's been, hurt the last couple of years, she's a superstar. She comes in with 24 points. She's coming back next year. UConn will be back again.
Yeah. Oh, and I love the shirt that her mom wears. It says
"Fud
around and find out."
Yes.
Fud around and find out. Yeah, UConn. It's a team that I think they said Paige has been, because I guess she's been there 5 years, but she was hurt, but she's been to 4 Final Fours. I mean, I didn't even remember that because South Carolina's been winning and then LSU won. But bad news for women's college basketball, Johnny O. They're saying, and we said this last year, or I mean, we said it talking about it going into this year, the Caitlin Clark effect, because they're like, oh, women's basketball is here to stay. It's not just Caitlin Clark. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Why? What do you got?
Last year's championship game, $18.5 million with Caitlin Clark against South Carolina. People are like, oh, it's because South Carolina was a draw. Oh, it is? Because South Carolina was in it with UConn, who is the Carolina, the Duke, the Kansas, the Kentucky, all in one with women's college basketball, $3.9 million.
No. Oh, my.
Nearly 6 times less than last year. And I don't blame. I like watching women's college basketball because it's fundamentally sound. They play smart basketball, team basketball.
Yep.
But try to say that, oh, it wasn't just Caitlin Clark. Yeah, it was.
It was.
In the WNBA rating, she plays in the games. I think the top 15 games, she was in all of them.
Remember, we went over those crazy numbers. It was nuts. Just those exact numbers, basically, what you just said for that. That is I mean, they should be giving her a cut for the rest of her life for that. Oh my God.
Well, and some people made it like a race thing, and that's that's the culture we live in sometimes. But Paige Beckers was in for UConn.
Yep.
Nobody wanted to watch. It's the way Caitlin Clark plays. If there's any player from any background that's shooting logo threes and then also having triple doubles and all this stuff in their team and taking a team that's normally okay to these great heights, it's just the style of play. Like, she is the Steph Curry. People love watching people either dunk, which they can't. There's a couple that can, but they're not going to do that on a consistent basis, or this incredible 3-point shooting. Yeah. And that's what she has. Not making threes, the type of threes, the style, the flair. Yeah.
And her style and her personality too really flowed throughout the world. I was going to say the nation, but I think she was worldwide. What's kind of funny about that is, and I'm a big Paige Becker fan ever since she went to, she's been to 4 now, but she lost the other 3 and she got hers Sunday, I guess. So, she got her big W and it just all comes, when you're at UConn, it all works out. Brianna Stewart went to my high school in North Syracuse. She was same high school. She went to UConn, played 4 years, won 4 national championships. Man. Yeah. Can you imagine that? I mean, 4. And, of course, they mention her quite a bit. But, you're talking about national championships in South Carolina and this and that. You know what's funny about our girl. Oh my God.
Caitlin Clark.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
0 national championships. She
Right.
doesn't have one. Now
Right.
she made it to 2 games, but 0 natties, man.
Yeah.
And she's still the most popular women's basketball player to probably ever play the game right now.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's
Yep.
no doubt. She's the most popular, and in some instances, she's more popular. She was more popular last year than any men's college basketball player.
Yep.
You name one that you have to watch. And then Cooper Flagg was, the difference maker. He's kind of like Zion was a few years ago, where you had to watch. But they said ratings were definitely up for the men this year as opposed to last year. But you also have 4 big schools in the Final Four and 2 blue bloods. Florida's, I guess, kind of cusp of blue blood, I guess. So maybe 1 blue blood with Duke.
Well,
And then
they had the back-to-back.
3.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. Yeah.
But and then I don't know if you saw this. Back to Houston real quick, not to jump around, but did you see that there's a security guard that didn't let Hakeem Olajuwon onto the court?
Yes.
Like it's some younger dude. He had no idea, but it's like, can you put 2 and 2 together? He's 7 feet tall. He's going on the court. No one else is saying anything. Why don't you ask him what his name is? He probably still wouldn't have known,
Oh, that's funny. Oh my God.
How are you a security guard at the Final Four? You don't know like basic basketball history. And so he began to celebrate on Saturday night with the Houston Cougars, who I think they're the team that's been to the most Final Fours without a championship. 7 Final Fours,
7.
No titles, and they've had some heartbreaking losses.
Oh, El Zippo, including that NC State one many years ago. Absolutely. Wow. Oh.
All right, are way too early. What do you want to do? Just a couple of predictions.
Yeah, it's so hard. It's so hard. I know we want to talk about the way too early prediction, but how do we know with the portal? We don't know where all these players are going to be. They're still dropping out from one team, going to other teams. I see you guys lost Ian Jackson now.
So we had 3 5-stars on our team, right? And 2 have left, Cadeau and Ian Jackson. And there's a write-up, I think, on keepitheel.com. All these different colleges have their different publications and things. And the whole article was ripping apart Hubert Davis, saying Hubert Davis failed Ian Jackson. Ian Jackson was projected, in his projection, coming to Carolina as a lottery pick, one and done. As of right now, he's barely getting drafted in the second round. And they said Corey Alexander, that used to play for Virginia, he works for the ACC Network, had the inside scoop saying that Ian Jackson would text Hubert Davis every day, what can I do to be better? What can I do to help this team win? And apparently there's some promises made to him that Davis allegedly did not keep. And then when his confidence was down, instead of having him work through it on the court, he just sat him. He didn't play more than 20 minutes in the last 6 games. And then, some of the loyalty to an RJ Davis, which I get, of course, and then Cadeau, it's like, early in the season when they gave him big minutes, let him control the ball, he was scoring 25, 26, 27 points. And so for him to leave, that's a massive blow. We have no backcourt. Right now we have no backcourt. We have no real backcourt.
But that's what's, and this is a whole show we can do. But that's what's wrong with college basketball. Okay. And I'm not saying anything against Ian Jackson. He didn't get what he wanted his freshman year. Okay. Obviously, we don't know if it's Hubert's fault, his fault. We don't know the backstories, because a lot goes on that we don't know. But it's so easy for these players, like about 1,500 of them, when they go to the portal, just say, shoot, I'll go somewhere else. And it's not always greener elsewhere, but it's a lot easier to leave and go play wherever you want to play, because again, like what you were saying last week, that it's just stuck in my head, man, about these, they got to sign contracts, because it's getting stupid, man. But
so it's hard to say. I saw some things I've read based on what we know now. They have Duke and Houston.
They got Duke winning it next year.
Yeah,
they haven't won in 10 years, but they're always favored to win the following year.
Yes, Coach Calipari got a lot of crap for having so many 5-stars and not winning but one title. But Duke hasn't won one in 10 years, like you mentioned. And let me see if I have it. There's a crazy stat about the pure amount of talent that Duke has had over the years, and they've blown it. I mean, they've blown it. They've had more 5-stars than most people. They've had all these lottery picks and AP Player of the Year, and they've really come up short. They've been the most talented team for many years, and they don't win it.
But can you imagine? Just put this in your mind. All those, like this year, like 7 NBA guys, and in the past, there's been 6, 7 NBA guys on their roster, freshmen. Just one time out of the last, let's say, really 10 years, I guess it's been going on, since they started, getting all these top recruits. What if all those stayed one more year?
Oh, I know.
Oh my gosh, it would have been frightening. And that's how it used to be back in the day when they would stay 3 or 4 years. But those classes that Duke had, and if they all stayed one more year, I don't think it wouldn't even been competitive.
Well, as a Carolina fan, there was a scenario if Rasheed Wallace and Stackhouse stayed, their starting 5 could have been, or the 4 at least, Stackhouse, Wallace, Anton Jameson, and Vince Carter would have all been on the same team.
Wow.
And then whoever you want at point guard,
Yeah.
Because I think Ed Cota was out.
As soon as I gave Duke a little bit, I just gave them a little bit, you switched the whole conversation over back to North Carolina. Man. That's very impressive.
No, I have no confidence in Carolina. As of now, I wouldn't have them ranked. Yeah. Duke's doing a better job recruiting for sure. I mean, but yeah, you're right. There's some team that can. So far, there hasn't been a lot of big news from the transfer portal. There's been some signings here and there. Carolina got some guy from Arizona, but like St. John's has done pretty well so far in the transfer portal. Yeah. But they've also lost some people, so it's very difficult right now to have any clue what these teams are going to look like next year.
So to even talk about next year, of course you got Duke. But they'll be saying Kentucky, they'll be saying Kansas, who has, been fluttering lately, the last few years. All the blue bloods, they'll say, oh yeah, no, those are the top picks next year. You and I know just as much as they know right now.
We don't know.
So
100%.
Well, that's it. Good show, man. I think we covered basketball. I think we need to, we're going to have to talk a little bit of NBA starting maybe next week.
Yeah. I saw something, just a little teaser. I saw some graph. They're like 6 teams could end anywhere from like 3rd to 8th.
Yes, in the West.
9th. Yeah, and the Lakers can finish anywhere from 2nd to 8th.
Yeah.
Depending on how they finish the season.
It's like within 2 games and there's only 3 games left. Yeah. So that's good. That's good for the NBA.
That's exciting to see. Yeah. All right, Johnny, great job.
All right, good stuff.